Good morning, guys. Spruce Goose here. I'm going to review another replay of a game sent to me by a player on the website. I'm going to make some commentary and kind of analyze the game and make predictions and just see how it goes. Yeah, so this game was sent to me a few weeks ago, and I only now got around to actually viewing it. So let's start and see what happens. So we have Bowler on one side and Green Tea on the other. Green Tea has a few strong units. He has the Mercenary, which is really strong. He has a Pikeman, which is quite strong, especially if the opponent doesn't have any ranged units. But Bowler does have a Crossbowman. So Crossbowman is a very good counter to the Pikeman because it kind of cancels out its ability. Bowler also has a Berserker, which is one of the strongest units in the game, and a Scout, which lets you capture a base early. The Marshal can also work pretty well with the Berserker because it can activate its ability, its ability. And the Pikeman also counters the Berserker. Because if the Berserker attacks the Pikeman, it loses one of its units, one of its coins, which means that it is less effective with its tactic. Right, let's see how the game unfolds. I'm gonna start going through the plays. So Mercenary deployed, and Crossbowman deployed. So I think the Crossbowman is actually a pretty good unit to deploy against the Mercenary because you can then protect this base by moving the Crossbowman here and maybe then deploying a Marshal here. So the Mercenary, it'll be harder for it to sort of capture this base early. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so Crossbowman moves here. And I think deploying the Marshal here would be a pretty good play, but let's see what happens. Now this is a really good situation. If you have the Ensign and you draw it in your second hand, it means you can potentially move another unit onto a base quite early in the game, right? So if this Pikeman moves here, let's say, and then the Ensign is deployed on the base, then the other Ensign coin in the bag could then move the Pikeman onto one of these bases. Let's see what happened. Okay, Marshal on the point, it's good. Pikeman, Scout on the point. We have an Ensign deployed next to the Mercenary. So this is another good strategy because then the Mercenary could be bolstered and sort of moved onto the point and capture the point on the first turn as a bolstered unit, which is quite strong. Okay. However, Green Tea recruited a Mercenary, so he lost the advantage of combining the Ensign with the Mercenary, unfortunately. Okay, Bowler recruits a Crossbowman. So generally, it's pretty good to watch what your opponent is doing. And if you see that your opponent is investing in a specific unit, you want to make sure you have some presence on the board on the same side as that unit. So if a lot of Mercenaries are being recruited, then recruiting a lot of Crossbowmen would be a good answer. Okay, so the Scout captured a base here earlier. Then we have another Crossbowman recruited. And the Mercenary, interestingly, moves here into the line of fire. So let's see what happens. I just want to go back for a bit. Okay, yeah. All right, let's see what happens. Berserker is deployed, and Green Tea recruits another Mercenary. So the Mercenary is all tapped out. I don't think I've ever seen this strategy where the Mercenary just goes straight into the enemy lines, and it looks like Green Tea is actually going for this home base, which is pretty insane. Okay, Marshal moves here, which is good because then he can be used with both the Crossbowman and the Berserker, so that's a really good play. Mercenary is bolstered. Bowler claims the initiative. Mercenary's bolstered a third time, or a second time. And then, okay, Bowler passes. And we have a footman on the point. So I've definitely never seen this strategy before. Footman is deployed. Bowler moves the crossbow. So now Bowler can actually kill one of the mercenaries because he claimed the initiative, so he'll have the first go. Kills one of the mercenaries. And interestingly, green team doesn't have any mercenaries, so he's kind of in danger here. Okay, ensign moves into a support position. This is a great place for the ensign to be because it is now within reach of like most of the board or a lot of the board, so you can really assist any unit in the area. Let's see what else happens. Green team now claims the initiative. Okay, I don't know why, but I guess to save the mercenary from getting killed by another crossbowman. Okay, Berserker is bolstered. Pike moves onto the point. Now we have a new round. Mercenary moves onto the point. Crossbowman moves to threaten the mercenary. And now the mercenary moves again. Okay, crossbowman is bolstered. Footman moves toward this base, presumably. And Bowler recruits another berserker. So, at the very least, this mercenary, even if he's not like achieving tangible objectives, like he's not actually capturing bases, he is still keeping 3 units occupied. So he's distracting 3 units, leaving the rest of the board free for green tea to basically claim easy bases. Okay, so mercenary kills the marshal. Scout moves toward the point. Pikeman captures a base. And green tea recruits another pikeman. Bowler bolsters the berserker again. So now the berserker could move and kill the mercenary, but I think the mercenary is going to slip away and walk onto the base probably. Yeah. Then, let's see. Okay, so now the berserker moves toward the mercenary and waits. Now suppose this mercenary captures this base, then Bowler will have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we'll have 2 bases that are not protected. Well, this one is not protected at all. And that this berserker can only protect one of these 3 bases. Okay, let's see what else happens. The ensign moves the pikeman forward. This is good because then the pikeman and the berserker can square off, and at the very least, the pikeman can take out 1 berserker. Marshal on the point, but there's no other marshals in the supply because one was eliminated. So basically, not in the supply, I meant in circulation. So this marshal is just here to delay green tea from capturing the point. And footman is bolstered. I think that's a good play. Now the scout moves on to the point because Bowler knows that green tea doesn't have any more footmen. They're all accounted for. Okay, let's see what happens. Mercenary captures the point. Honestly, I don't know how this happened. This is like crazy, given how many units Bowler had close to the home base. Crossbowman moves to threaten the mercenary. Ensign moves the footman forward, so the ensign is actually protecting itself because now the footman blocks the crossbowman's path, so it's quite good. But I think the crossbowman moved here not to kill the ensign but to kill the mercenary. And yeah, crossbowman kills a mercenary, and then green tea recruits a footman. Now the pikeman I'm sorry, this is a new round, so I think the pikeman might move onto a point. Let's see what happens. Okay, mercenary is bolsters. I think the mercenary is basically going to try and save this base, prevent this base from being recaptured. Okay, yeah, crossbowman kills one mercenary. Pikeman is bolstered. Interesting. So actually, I think what I might have done, if I were in Bowler's place, I think I would have killed the last mercenary with the crossbowman, and then I would have been able to actually flip this base. And then I would buy myself a bit more time because the green tea's on 4 bases. He needs 2 more, and he's in very good position to actually capture these 2 bases. Okay, so Berserker moves toward the mercenary, kills the mercenary, and moves on to the point. And pikeman moves on to a point. Crossbowman moves away, which is probably a mistake. I would probably have tried to either kill this footman or move on to the point to prevent the footman from capturing, from moving on to this point, basically. Okay, crossbowman moves onto the point. So, because moving the crossbowman here also means that the footman is not threatened anymore. So it can freely move on to the point. Okay. Now the Berserker flips a point. That's good. Green Tea recruits an ensign. The Scout controls the base, finally. And we have a Mercenary deployed here, which is good because it can then prevent the Scout from capturing this home base. Next up, we have Bowler recruiting another crossbowman. So the way it's looking now, green tea is poised to capture these 2 bases. Shouldn't be a problem. And then I think the pikeman could probably go down and capture this base because Bowler would have no way of preventing it. So really, the only way Bowler can save his skin is if he is able to flip one of the bases, probably this one, but in order to flip it, he probably needed to keep the crossbowman within range of the footman. Okay, footman controls the base. Berserker is bolstered. Pikeman captures a base, so now green tea's on 5 bases. Crossbowman moves here, so I think this is probably where, if he wanted to move the crossbowman, this probably would have been a better position, because at this point he could have actually killed one of the footmen if he had moved here sooner. Now the ensign is moving on to the point. Scout is bolstered. This footman is probably going to be bolstered as well. Yeah. Then the Berserker is probably... Okay, so the crossbowman kills a footman. Green Tea recruits a pikeman, so he's definitely going for this base. Berserker is bolstered. Ensign moves the pikeman closer, and yeah, I think Green Tea has won. Okay, so Berserker moves closer, kills 1, 2 footmen, and then Green Tea moves the pikeman onto the point with the ensign. Berserker moves onto the point, and Green Tea wins. Yeah, it's a good game. It was a good game. I think the early play was the Mercenary, where he just went crazy and went like into the enemy lines and basically kept everyone distracted. That probably did a lot to help Green Tea win. I think it's good that Bowler was able to flip this base back, but I think he should never have lost that base. he had very strong units. He had a Crossbowman, Berserker, and Marshal all surrounding the Mercenary. So he should have been able to deal with the Mercenary. But hindsight is 2020, and it's harder when you're actually in the game. It's harder to actually predict what's going to happen, and you don't know what units your opponent has in their hand and so on. So yeah, overall, yeah, good game. Hope you enjoyed it.